Oh, is the yellow here attacking me? Two of them?
Yo, what's poppin', First Order fam? Welcome back to a new build video. I got my Dragonknight healer out here, and I'm going to break down why this is such a very good build and why people needs to stop hating on Dragonknight healers. Now, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. This is my second take doing this recording because if you look at my last couple build videos, they were extremely long, 50 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever the case is. I don't want this one to be like that. And my first recording, I just went on a rant about the shit, and it was 40 minutes. So let's get into this right away. Sets. The most important set, Healer's Habit. Alright, you want to gain minor mending at all times, which increases your healing done by 8%. Alright, 8% may not seem like a lot, but it stacks with major mending, and we all know that the Dragonknight has the capabilities of getting major mending by doing certain abilities. Alright, so if you stack minor mending with major mending, which is 25%, you'll be at 33%. Buff to your healing done. Alright, and all of these things stack on top of each other. So as you can see right here, we have a powered restoration staff, which increases healing done by 8%. Alright, so 8% You got the minor mending, which is another 8%, that's 16. On top of the 25%, you add 41. So 41% buff to your healing done right off bat, all right? And I'll break down why that'll be important in a second. And the next set where we have Spell Power Cure. All right. Now, Spell Power Cure is a very, very good set. It's a very good set. Now, what I would say is that Spell Power Cure is an interchangeable set in the sense that you don't need to have it. All right. It does give you a very good buff, 250 spell damage and weapon damage to you and your allies for 10 seconds. And it does stack on top of other skills, and I'll break that down in a second. It stacks on top of other abilities, so you'll have a pretty significant buff to healing and damage, depending on your class. But if you want, you can always switch this out for a set that gives you max magic or magical recovery. It's up to you. The reason I say that, I'll get into it once we get into the character sheet. I am running Choked On. Ideally, you want to have everything infused or everything divines. I didn't want to waste my transmute crystals to switch all of these things, so I just left them as is. So I'm running a lot of mismatch traits, and the set still works extremely well. The build still works extremely well. All right. So you got Choked On 2-piece, which is head and shoulders, of course. Healer's Habit chest, infused. And then the 4-piece for your waist, hands, legs, and feet is all Spell Power Cure or whatever second set that you would choose to wear. All right. Actually, I really wanted to put this on because it's gold already. It's infused. I will get the max returns, but I didn't have a Spell Power Cure chest, so I had to do what I had to do. That's neither here nor there. Just a little fun fact. But the jewelry, Healer's Habit jewelry. All right, gives you max magicka, and then you want to have gold enchants on it. 174 spell damage for each. All right, that's the way I went with it. You don't have to. You can put some recovery on it, whatever the case is. Even cost reduction, it's up to you. All right, that's the set. Healer Habit, Spell Power Cure. Spell Power Cure is not mandatory. All right, character sheet, 64 into magic. I'm a vampire. I'm running a ritual, which boosts your healing done. Currently, it's at 10%. And I'm running a tri-stat food. That's me. You can run Witch Mother's Brew or any other food that you want that will boost magic and magic recovery, health, whatever the case is. So it's up to you. Me personally, I'm running tri-stats because I believe when you have an Argonian, anything that's tri-stat is for the better. That's just me. All right. Now max magic is sitting at 37,000. Recovery is at 1,000. Health 17,000. 100, almost 200 recovery. That's because I'm a vampire. We all know. And stamina is at 14,000 with a 575 recovery. Not that important. You're not a stamina build. You do use stamina for roll dodges and blocking, and that's about it. You don't have too many stamina abilities aside from maybe Necrotic Orb, but I'm not even 100% sure that Necrotic Orb is a stamina ability. All right, spell damage is at 1900 with a 32% crit chance. Critical resistance is at 1,000. Spell resistance 17,000. Physical resistance 12,000, and that's on the front bar. On the back bar, which is a defending staff, because I couldn't get powered, I didn't want to use my crystals, is at 20,000 spell damage. Spell resistance. 15,000 physical resistance. Same 1,000 crit resistance. All right, but the spell crit percentage goes up to 42% basically. All right, and that is because of ability that we have slotted. Boost your critical rate while slotted. All right, now I'm gonna get into the spells. Skills. All right. Now the most important skill, Igneous Shields. Why is this the most important skill? Because it gives you major mending, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Major mending stacks on top of the minor mending from the healer's habit. All right, so that's what gives you the biggest boost for healing. Major mending on top of minor mending. All right, now when you factor in your Mundus Stone, your restoration staff, and the champion points, those are 5 boosts. Oh, my bad, it's 6 boosts because I am an Argonian, which also gives you a boost to your healing done. When I added up all of the healing done boosts, you are at 71% boost to your healing done. All right, now if I was to rock all divine gear, it'll bring up the Mundus Stone from 10% to 16%. So you'll be at damn near 80% boost to healing done. All right, and that is before you get to the PvP area, when you are around a keep, anywhere near a keep that you own, of course, you get a boost of 20% done to your healing done. So you will be clearly over 80% boost to healing done, close to 90%, which is absolutely insane. Actually, you 78, 20% of that. Yeah, you're almost at 100%. So you double your healing once everything stacks, which is absolutely insane. All right, and everybody can't do this because everybody don't have major mending. That's for Argonians. That is for Dragonknights, and I believe Wardens have major mending, but the way you do it is different. I don't think it's like an on-call major mending type shit. I think you get it by doing something else. Neither here nor there. This works best with the Dragonknight healer. All right. So we have Igneous Shields, Ward Ally. The reason I went with Ward Ally is because I don't want to randomly put a bubble on anyone. I may be trying to preserve myself because I'm being focused. And when you do healing ward, it just goes to allies. It goes to someone with the lowest health. Maybe I'm not at the lowest health, but I'm almost at the lowest health. You understand? Ward Ally, it always gives you, and it gives someone else who has low health. All right, so this is the best one in my opinion. Harness Magica, a 14,000 damage shield over 6 seconds, and it gives you back 1100 Magica 3 times if you absorb spell damage. All right. Healing Springs, this is your spammable. It's at 2600. It heals for 2600 initially when you cast it, and then every 1 second for 3 seconds it heals for 2600. These are all uncrits, and these are all unbuffed by major mending. All right, so these are all the costs with when you have just a minor mending on. Now, Obsidian Shard. This to me is the most underrated healing ability in the game. If you see right here, it heals you or an ally near the enemy for 9200 health. This is uncrit. All right, this is a CC. This starts off as just a CC before you morph it, and then it becomes this very powerful heal. Now you can see right there, it's at 9200. If I do Igneous Shields and then I go back to it, it's at 11,000 health. So you healing somebody for 11,000. This is uncrit. These are uncrit stuff. So I've seen this hit in PvP. I've seen this hit for 14,000, and in dungeons, which is the PvP areas, I've seen it hit for 24,000. This is very underrated. This is a very underrated ability. And if I do If I pop Igneous Shields before I do anything, any of these all get buffed up. All right, this will get a buff. If you do this first and then you do it, it's a 3100 heal, and then 3100 every second for 3 seconds. So all your healing gets an extreme buff when you do Igneous Shields before you do it. Even your ultimate. All right, so your ultimate right now, Light's Champion. I went with Light's Champion because you give major protection and major force, increasing critical damage by 15% and reducing incoming damage by 30%. All right, but right now, without the buff of the major mending, it's at 11,481. So let's just say 11.5, right? 11.5 health every 1 second for 5 seconds. If I do Igneous Shields, it's up to 13.5 health every 1 second for 5 seconds. That's a lot of health. It's just insane. I'm gonna be 100% honest. That's an insane amount of health to heal anyone. All right. So if you're playing your cards right and you're on your rotation properly, you'll be able to sustain like great heals over the course of battle. All right. You have to throw heavy attacks in there because, as we saw, the recovery is only at 1,000, and certain abilities like this is 3,600. All right. Igneous Shields, 3,600. 41. So you don't want to run out of magicka by just consistently spamming spells. You want to get your heavy attacks in there, and when we get to the champion points, I'll tell you about how to get the most returns that you can possibly get out of your heavy attacks. All right. So the back bar, Igneous Shields. You need Igneous Shields on both bars, because no matter the case, what situation, you want to be able to get your major mending. You know, your major mending out of for your teammates. All right. So Igneous Shields, cauterize. This starts off as, I believe, Inferno. I think it's Inferno. I may be wrong on the name, but we know what I'm talking about. So it starts off as that. You morph it to cauterize, and now it's no longer a DPS move. It's a healer's move. All right. So it does the same thing, but instead of attacking the enemy, it heals an ally. All right. For 52, almost 5,500 health. Do Igneous Shields, same thing, is up to 6,500 health. All right, so anytime you do Igneous Shield, you get in the same heal. Your next move, for the next 3 seconds, your heals is going to be insane. All right. Now, the last 3 abilities is completely up to you guys. All right. Me personally, I like to run Igneous Weapons. If I'm going to run Spell Power Cure, I feel that Igneous Weapons is a mandatory. Why? Because Igneous Weapons buffs you and your allies spell and weapon damage for 40 seconds. That stacks on top of the Spell Power Cure. All right. So you like, let me show you a brief little. Let me show you mine. Just mine. All right. Igneous Weapons, cauterize. I did the cauterize because the reason I did cauterize was because I need to heal myself while I'm at full health to get the Spell Power Cure, and then the buff from Igneous Weapons is still there. All right, so now I got Spell Power Cure and I have cauterize, and I'm at 2,581 spell damage. Now I was buffed twice. All right, and I went to 2,500. Now, if you have a weapon or spell damage enchant on your weapon, you can buff that again by up to 450, I believe. If it's gold, if everything is gold, I think it's 450 infused. All right. But me, I run powered, so let's just say powered. I'll get damn it, I just wasted a potion. Movable too. So 348. 348 on top of the 2,500 that I just got from being buffed up. All right, let me buff up again. All right, so 2581. So 26. Let's say 2600 plus 340. Right? That is 2940. That's insane. That's an insane amount. That's an insane buff. Now the same applies for your teammates. If they, which most people do, run the weapon increase on their weapons, the damage increase on their weapons. It's an insane buff for your whole team or anybody that you heal at that time. All right, now back to the skills. The next one is combat prayer. The reason I run combat prayer is because it gives minor berserker, minor resolve, and minor ward. So you're increasing you and your teammates' damage output as well as your defenses. And it gives a pretty good heal, which unbuffed is at 6400. If you buff up before you do it, it's at 7100. And this is uncrit. So you could crit this 7100, and you know, instead of critting the 6000. All great. And your heals go up if your spell power is buffed up. You get bigger heals if your spell power is buffed up. So if I'm buffed up from from the other things, the heals will be much higher. Now, choking talents. Me personally, I believe that as a healer, you need to do other things aside from just healing, which is why I like to buff up my teammates' damage, and I like to CC enemies as much as possible. So I like to choking talents as much as I can. All right, now ultimate. Your backball ultimate is entirely up to you. Me personally, I like to run replenishing barrier or magma shell. Why? Because magma shell, it makes you incredibly tanky, and it gives your allies a damage shield. If you're in a dungeon or any PvP area, it's 110% of their max health. If you are in PvP areas, then it's only 55% of their max health. In PvP areas, everything is cut in half. All right, so your damage shield from replenishing barrier would not be 31,000, which is what it says. It will be less, which is about 15.6 thousand. All right, now pick replenishing instead of the one that buffs up the damage or whatever the case is. Pick replenishing because you get back 6 ultimate per shield, and you get back 554 magic per shield, which is not the biggest thing. The biggest thing is the 6 ultimate. So if you're in a group or you have a lot of allies near you, when you do this, you'll get back a lot of ultimate. So by the time the effects wear off of the replenishing barrier, you'll have enough ultimate to do the lights champion, right? So it's like you do ultimate and you got an ultimate right back. So that's pretty significant right there. Excuse me. Now, me personally, again, these 3 things I said here, these are all interchangeable depending on your personal playstyle. But these 2 are like, I feel these 2 here as mainstays, all right? I like to do these 2 when I'm going into battle. If I see enemies coming up on us, I like to do this and this, all right? Because you don't have to worry about doing cauterize again for another 15 seconds, all right? After 15 seconds, then you pop it again. But you don't have to worry because the cauterize will be healing your teammates for 15 seconds, all right? 15 seconds, you got worth of heals that you don't have to actually worry about, all right? So now once I do these 2, then I'm switching to my front bar, and now this is when I'm gonna pop these, do this, do my rock throws, get my wards up. Like you need to have a specific rotation, all right? Me personally, that's my rotation. It's this, we buff up, and then we get going, all right? Now we out here. We got my shields up, so I don't gotta worry about too much. Heal as much as possible, get my CCs up. All right, this is just how I play, but you can choose how you want to do it based on your style or whatever the case is. Alright guys, so now we are at champion points. Now, I'm only going to go over the ones that you need for the build because I believe that champion points are, you know, they're only specific to the person that's using them. Alright, so I cannot tell you every champion, where to put every champion point. But what I can tell you is where you need to put the champion points for this particular build. Blessed, you need a minimum of 13%. You don't need it, but I will recommend a minimum of 13% into Blessed, a minimum of 20% into Elfborn for your critical heals. I would recommend a minimum of 20% into Staff Expert, but I do not have that many skill points, so I couldn't do it my damn self. So if you can't do it, that's fine, but I will recommend that. The reason I recommend it is because the more damage that you do from your heavy attacks, the more returns that you get. For, you know, if you heavy attack with your staffs, you get more magicka back. Alright, so this stacks on top of tenacity, as well as the passive from your restoration staff and the passive from your heavy armor. Okay, so that's one right there, mandatory. Bastion is mandatory. I would recommend again 20%. This will make your shield, your damage shields, a lot stronger. Hardy and Elemental Defender, these two here, I would recommend that you get them, but again, they're not 100% necessary because your damage shields would be significantly stronger if you don't put 43 into these. You know, unless you're a max character. I'm not max, so I gotta use my points a little differently than max characters. And then these two here, Tenacity and Arcanus. These are the only two that's really necessary for this build, because this buffs up the amount of returns that you get from heavy attacks, and this buffs up your magic recovery. Alright, so those are the champion points. Anything else that you want to do with your champion points is entirely up to you, but those are the main ones: Blessed, Elfborn, Bastion, Arcanus, Tenacity, and then the Staff Expert. Those are the main ones. Alright, so those are the champion points. Brooklyn.